What's up, y'all? It's Carla, aka Sila the Poet. Happy Sunday night to all my peoples. Happy Sunday night to everybody. Right now, I am home and I am unwinding after a long day. I went to dance class earlier, compa class, and now I'm just relaxing and reflecting on the weekend. So Valentine's Day, it was a great day. You know, I was able to spend time with my two Valentines, which are my children, Emmanuel and Vida. Those are my kids. And, they'll always be my Valentines because they are my babies. They are my firstborn. Well, they're not babies anymore. They're like young adults, a young man and a young lady. But as a mom, you kind of always see them as babies. So, yeah, I spent time with them, gave them their Valentine's Day gifts, and yeah, I ended up going to a Valentine's Day party, which was a Kizomba social, and I had a lot of fun, dancing with different people, socializing. I was dressed up in cosplay as the female Cupid, so that was like a lot of fun too. So right now I'm just thinking about the whole theme of love because Valentine's Day is basically like a celebration, I guess, of relationships, lovers, husbands and wives, girlfriend, boyfriend, long-term relationship, whatever. As a person of faith, I think that the holiday just celebrates love in whatever form it may come in. It doesn't necessarily have to be relationship oriented or romantic, but you could celebrate, love, friendship. You can celebrate the love of a hobby that you do. You can celebrate, caring for your pet, time with family. You can celebrate loving yourself, self love, self care. Just I think the important thing is to just focus on the fact that we have the gift of love, period. In a world where there's so much chaos and so much hate and so much wickedness and kind of like craziness and evil things happening, I'm grateful that there is an opposite, you know, like even though there's negativity, there's also light and love. That is the polar opposite. I'm glad that both of these forces actually exist because imagine if it was just the evil force and the negative and the wickedness, and there would be nothing to counteract that. We would all be screwed. So I am grateful for the polar opposite, which is love, which is light, which is truth, which is justice. These are things that I am grateful for. So on Valentine's Day, when I was traveling to that Kizomba party, um, you know, I live in the hood and I was at the A train stop, and two dudes across the platform started fighting. I don't know what they were fighting about. I don't know if they were strangers or if they knew each other, but first they were arguing and yelling. Then there was a guy who was shorter and a guy who was taller. The shorter guy kept on following the taller guy, right? He was trying to walk away, but the shorter guy just kept going after him. And so all of a sudden, you see the taller dude swing on the shorter dude. And eventually, the tall dude, he took the short dude, body slammed him onto the floor, right? You heard his back and his head hit the I guess the platform floor hard, right? I was surprised that he didn't break something, but the crazy thing is that he almost fell onto the tracks. And so the dude, the other guy who did the body slamming, after that he ran up the stairs and ran away. And in this train station, there's a police station right upstairs. So in my mind, I'm watching this. I'm like, oh my God, because it's across the platform. Even the people that were standing next to me are watching this, like, oh my God, like And in my mind, I'm like, where the hell is the police? Where are the cops? The cops should have been, patrolling or something. They didn't see it happen. I hope that that dude is all right, because I think that they were trying to take him up the stairs to see if he could get attention, medical attention or whatever. But it just showed me, on the day of love, where people are supposed to be celebrating love, you had these two dudes that almost tried to harm each other. The shorter dude could have lost his life because the way that he body slammed him on the floor, and he could have fallen onto the tracks. So it just made me think, thank God that we have a force called love in this world, because I don't I believe in the supernatural. I know that there's good and evil. Um, do I understand all the nuances of evil and wickedness? No, I don't. I know the Bible says that there are spiritual wickedness in the high places, principalities, thrones, dominions, all of that. It's kind of like, I guess what, demonic type activity or whatever, and just wickedness in high places. And I don't claim to understand all of that. I know it exists for sure. But do I understand it? No, because that has to do with the supernatural. But thank God that we have a force that counteracts that. Thank God that there is some type of good, that exists in the world or whatever. And that's light, and that's love, and that's truth, which is the opposite of, the negativity. I am grateful to God that we have love in the world, and I want to make sure that I, live in love. And, I try to, what's the word? Express love or represent love, and positivity. Because negativity, it'll just keep you depressed. Back in the day, I did struggle with depression. Every now and then, it kind of bothers me, the sadness of the world. But, when you focus on love, and when you focus on other things like truth, justice, or whatever, it kind of gets your mind off, the negativity. But anyway, so I'm just grateful for that we have such a thing as love. And that's all I'm going to say for now. This was just a check-in. How you doing, my people? And I'm hoping that you have a great week coming up. Be safe. Peace.